need an ice cream machine up fast enough. People ordered ice cream today. I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, I have a question. Does anybody know if I got approved to remain on the board?
On this board,
Yeah, I've sent a letter. When in January, I
I just
think
remember that we advertised this one.
January
I think they were
24th. I sent you an email saying I'm interested in continuing to serve, and I didn't hear back from anybody.
We don't have to advertise for it
No,
like you do
but
the planning board. So
did we
people
do
just
it
wanna
like
get-
a month ago? And I'm just not remember, because both of those sound familiar. Okay, I don't
remember, Dave. I'm
stay
sorry.
tuned. You're still here.
Mhm.
I'll still
Please.
be on board. And I think Jeremy's head. Is there anybody else that is there that I can't see on camera?
Just me,
Tom's here.
Tom. It's
Hey,
just
Tom.
us three.
I
Brett?
can see you.
Brett couldn't be here, and Joy was going to remote in, but her flight got delayed this morning. So she's flying right now, so she can attend remotely. So
Okay,
it's just us.
thank you. I'm taking minutes.
Thank you.
All right, we're gonna go through this fast, but, all right, so call to order, and you got, attendance?
Yep.
We need approval of the prior minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Jeremy's motioned.
I can't second.
Oh, I can
I'll
second it.
second.
Okay.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, minutes are approved. Update on resort tax expenditures and revenues. I did review the revenue sheets that the city has posted online. And it looks like we're about flat from last year, but I did not get updated revenue or expenditure sheets from Lonnie, so I don't have the spreadsheet updated.
On a related note, did anybody call you today with the camera?
Yeah, I said no. And it looked like summer was up, and then October, November, December was down about 6%. I don't think we looked at that last time, but you know, obviously summer is so much better. So I think summer was up 6, the other was down 12, and it basically said we were about $1,000 flat off of last year for the first two quarters is what it appeared to be to me.
How are you doing this quarter?
We are 5% down.
Because everybody I've
else
talked to
in the
is
last 2 or 3
down.
weeks?
Yeah, we're running about 5% down as well here at Sweetgrass.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, without some better analysis, I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
No. And, you know, it's a little over the board. I've got one of my restaurants that's up 8%, one that's flat, and 2 that are down. So.
Yeah. They're, I talked to some, property managers, and they're getting lots of cancellations.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You know, Mountain is running at quarter
Yeah,
capacity.
we checked our cancellations. We haven't gotten a ton, but we're down hundreds of rooms. I think 250 rooms year to date, 200 rooms year to date. So it's significantly, we're down significantly. We're just not getting, our advanced bookings are about the same, our last minute bookings. And this is all year. Our advanced bookings have been pretty on for what they normally are, but our last minute bookings are not nearly what they normally are.
And that's not tied to the season?
I think it is. I'm comparing to last year.
But are you talking about winter distant time, or are you talking about summer distant?
I'm talking about the last, month and a half, 2.5 months. This year to date is one.
I've heard from, I know I'm down, and I've heard from a lot of people that everybody is down,
Yeah.
so.
All right, update on state legislature, or state resort tax committee. I was on the board meeting, Dave joined on the board meeting for the resort tax committee. Probably the biggest thing is that they continue to, want to, put people in buckets for their dues for the resort tax as opposed to having it, be a percentage of the resort tax, which lowers Big Sky by thousands and thousands of dollars and increases the smaller ones. The dues actually go down overall though, because they're expecting us to collect dues over 2 years. Now, the first year we kind of had to front load it, so the next two, it comes over 2 years.
You forgot the part where they hate me.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that. They were not overly happy with us because of the push to have the 1% have affordable housing or workforce housing be an eligible expenditure of resort tax.
The 1%.
The
And more
1%.
specifically, they wanted the association to come out in support of it, and
Yeah.
I had the gall to say, do you think you ought to talk about it with the association before you?
It was a little odd that they ran that as legislation but hadn't discussed it at the resort tax meeting.
Yeah.
When we asked at the meeting, what legislation are we gonna float? And they said, we don't have anything, we're just gonna monitor stuff. And then right at the beginning of the legislature, there's a bill dropped that clearly that Big Sky's pushing, so I kind of felt like they should have discussed
They
it.
either weren't upfront with us, or it was something that was slapped together that quickly at the
Yeah,
last minute,
yeah.
neither of which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Did
Uh,
that die?
No, it still has a possibility. It still has a possibility of passing. I'm not a huge fan of it personally. I think that workforce housing should, I think you can end up with have and have-nots when you start funding that kind of thing with resort tax dollars, and then it takes away from other public services. But, it can be beneficial too.
It is an eligible expense if you write it that way.
In the 3%
In the 3%.
already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And our concern was, and it wasn't a shoot it down, it was just questions of who's going to hold that. So if we use it for stormwater, as we are in Red Lodge, that's a city-held asset.
Mhm.
If you go build apartment buildings, who owns that, who holds that? And then
Right.
who administers that and determines who gets in and who doesn't?
Yeah, do
which
you build-
industries.
Do you do a project and then
Yeah,
you build the project and then you give the project to somebody else, or there's some questions.
there is. I mean, I
Yeah.
could see where there's some cities that will actually build housing for their essential workers.
Yeah,
That-
that to me would be, that's what we talked about. If you're
Yeah.
building workforce housing for, police,
municipal-
fire, municipal
Right.
workers, school, even hospital folks, and you're holding that,
Yeah.
I would be 100% in charge of that, in favor of that. But if you're using if you're using a resort tax to build housing to benefit a single business, then it
Yeah.
becomes,
Like, we've got a big hotel in Big Sky, and they need workers to work it.
yes.
Well, if you put it in that 1%, it has to be infrastructure.
It has to be infrastructure,
But
and
that's what they're doing, is they want to change definition of infrastructure to include housing.
Yes.
Right.
And it's just, before, our input was simply, A, there's a couple of questions, and those 2 questions I presented. And B, before you come out and say that the association is in favor of this, you need to do something more than send out an email at 3:30 and say at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, we have a meeting.
yeah.
Can we say the association is behind it?
No.
And they didn't have to say no just because we didn't,
And yeah,
we-
and they made the comment that, about we're not, one person can't veto it. I said, no, our purpose is not to veto.
Right.
We asked the question. I just pointed out you were saying this without backing it up.
Was there ever a vote or anything of the association?
No, that was,
a
no, it
email
was
saying,
never,
we're going tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Can we say the association backs it?
yeah.
No.
That's kind of what,
So now we're back to the hate.
that's what Dave and I
They don't
basically
hate
do.
you.
All right.
They're frustrated.
Updates on state resort tax meeting in Red Lodge in, May, and I don't have the date in front of me. That we'll have the resort tax meeting will be here.
Do you need anything from us?
We'll probably just need, just some logistical help, depending on where we do it. If we do it at the Pollard, I
think that's what we've talked about.
yeah, as long as the Pollard's I think on the Pollard will be big enough. The only issue I've got to figure out is just, we don't have a great Zoom system there, for online folks. The other option would potentially be the Roosevelt Center for it, and if we do Roosevelt Center, we just might need a little bit of help getting it set up and ready to go. If it's up
I
to
can
Pollard,
help.
just let me. Okay,
Yeah.
great, yeah, so we'll just figure that out. And I volunteered to do kind of a, just a meet and greet. It'll probably be cash bar kind of thing, but I'll fund some appetizers and do some stuff for that.
You guys are already, I see Chris is on there, I'm looking through, I think everybody in our committee is part of the email that went out on 3/4 that with Daryl was what they were tracking.
Oh, in terms of bills?
Of the bills that the association was following.
Yeah.
Jeremy, I see you there. Chris, I saw you there.
Which one? I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing Dave and Jeremy because you're not near the,
Oh, I'm not used to that. So I'm just referring to, going back to the, status of bills. There was an
Yes.
email that came out on the 3rd,
thank you, Jeremy.
that has an update from lobbyist Daryl James, and it actually came from just legislative committee. So it's legislative@mtresorttax.org.
Oh, yep. I see it. I'm in there.
That just has a summary for later to review, if you hadn't noticed it.
Thank you.
All right, so we are then left with, on our agenda, the review of the resort tax ordinance.
I thought we were probably pretty close to being done with this,
I-
weren't we?
I think we are pretty close.
Okay.
So I think that's the question is, do we still have questions? There was still, trying to get it open in front of me here. I think we were kind of going back and forth, and I think we committed to not go back and forth after this meeting on some of the pieces, and I think it had to do with, a couple of things, but one is that, and I'm not sure if you talked to the city attorney about this anymore, but this idea of what happens with violations and somebody who doesn't pay. I think that's the piece. Right now, it says a business that fails to file a report or resort taxes when due shall have a 30-day grace period. I thought we had some.
At our last meeting, we changed it to, at 30 business days late, the city will send out a letter for the $250 penalty.
And we.
And
Oh,
have
yeah,
done that
alternative
even
line,
though-
here it is. Yeah.
And then we were also gonna add that those went into the general fund, but the interest from the late resort tax would go into resort tax.
Yeah, and we just needed to have the language so that those fees went in. I will relay on anecdotally that we have been doing that, even though it's not passed yet, we've been sending out those notices at 30 days.
Business, not business
And the
days, but
response
calendar days.
universally has been, this is the first notice the city gave me, how come they didn't send me
Yes.
one at the day I was, so we've gone to 30 days, and then that's the counter there, and all it did is just change you didn't send me another one before this.
But it's better than them owing $750.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
So, I thought I had put alternative language in here.
I put it in the minutes, we talked about it. I know.
And I thought it said alternative language, but now, the following penalties and process.
Are we still working off the same draft?
Yeah,
Okay, I haven't seen it. I don't see any changes made since February. Well, I guess that was. when you
okay,
guys-
so if we're in agreement,
Mhm.
I will work with Dave to get the language crafted, finalized
Okay.
to the city attorney,
Okay?
and then hopefully we can get a final draft to us by next meeting to approve to send to council.
Okay,
And the only thing, I will run that past attorney as well as Danae,
Yeah,
set of eyes on there.
that's great, yeah.
Okay. I was wondering why you were grouping me in there, but now I'm just the first staff, okay.
yeah, and the only other thing that we talked about on that was that was the penalties and the mayor or staff waiving those, you said
Okay,
that it would
yeah,
be
we don't wanna do
arbitrary
that.
and capricious.
Yes, we don't want to do that,
We had legal counsel who said, don't go there.
yes. So,
I was kind of okay with it.
I was, as a city council person, I was totally okay with it.
Yeah.
Because it was like, totally fine with it, but I understand what they're saying, but.
It seems like, yeah, whatever, it's fine, it's fine.
okay,
Just so you know, we have another one. Only for $250 this time.
how much?
It was just one of them, the notices.
Oh, there's another one on top of that too. but
Oh,
it's
so we
gonna
have
be at
two
the
of
same
them.
meeting, and possibly 3, but they have 30 days before more.
Yeah, so we've got to fix this so that you're sending out a notice, they have an ability to cure it. If they don't cure it, then then the penalties come in. Because otherwise, I mean, and I think that's really what you're judging is, do you want to just do the penalties right away and face the fact that you're going to have to do reviews
Right.
all the time? Or do you want to send out a notice, give people an opportunity to cure, and if they cure,
And
then
that's what we were,
then they don't get a penalty.
we brought that up, that if like maybe at 5 days late, you charge them $50.
Yes, you could do a very, a
And
simple,
there's no ability to waive that
No.
$50 fee.
No.
You're done.
yeah,
That's
and
it.
you can't appeal it, yeah,
You can't appeal it
Yeah.
because this is, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because everybody who gets a penalty is basically going, once they're, and I get it, it's their right now but.
to appeal it,
To
yeah.
appeal it, but, I mean, yeah,
And it doesn't cost them anything to appeal it,
right.
because you're,
You don't want to put a barrier in front of,
No,
what
I mean,
could be an
it's their
injustice.
right,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
yeah,
I just would like it not to be the norm.
Hopefully this new sending of letters will, educate everyone.
And
Well,
$50
the problem is
would
We don't want
cover.
to be sending out 30 letters. Now, they have shortened their process significantly. That was something they've done.
Right.
Still,
But if that's 5, or you could even do 10 days. At 10 days, 10 calendar days, you send out a letter and they get a $50 fine. That will cover the cost of that letter,
not a fine, processing fee,
a processing fee,
yeah.
penalty, or whatever you want to call it.
10 days after the letter was sent, or 10 days
No,
after?
10 days after the resort
It was
tax
due.
was due.
Yeah,
And then at 30 days, they get a $250.
So
And then at 60
before
days,
they get the letter, they would get the.
30 days after 30 days after you send the letter, that's when you give them, I mean, you could do it 20 days.
no, it'd be 20. It's, because right now it reads 30 days, 30 calendar days from the day that it was due. I mean, we can change it. We have that ability to change that, and that's what we're looking at right now. Because it's due the 20th. If on the first of the month you have not made your payment, it's $50. And then if you go 30 days past that.
Then you pay it.
So they're getting
$50.
$50 regardless.
And it's not, you cannot,
Yeah,
not go.
yeah,
I mean,
that's the
not have-
processing fee, right?
Yeah.
Like not a fine, the fine comes after, this is a processing fee or something like that.
Yeah, so that it's
To,
not.
to process the late payment. Late payment processing fee.
Yeah. Why? Like, what's the point of the 10-day one?
So,
Just 'cause it's a hassle,
because
the
when
cost
it's
of-
$250, they all want to go in front of council
Sure,
and appeal it.
I mean, I think they would go in front of it for 50. Some people
But
would go
that's
for
why I'm
50
saying,
cents, but,
but that's what I'm saying, like, if it's the first one, you're 10 days late, there's no appealing it. It's just a $50 fee or fine, or, that's where he's saying a
This is
fee
what, yeah.
would be,
This says, right now here, it's just weird that the second part isn't.
that's
The-
what's not determined.
All delinquent taxes shall be immediately subject to interest at the rate of 19% per annum assessed daily and a $50 late processing fee. For the failure to report taxes due, failure to remit tax due, and any other violations, shall the following penalties and process shall be imposed. So that's where we want to add in. I mean, there's two things there's two options, right? If you send, we don't have to add anything about requiring us to send the letter, but I think, if you charge the 19% and the $50 late processing fee, then what happens, and then you send the letter, like you're saying, 5 days after, the week after they're due, Danae goes and prints the list of who didn't pay,
Mhm.
and then sends letters to all of them
And charges them $50.
and charges them $50. I mean, we could send an email too, right? Like, I'm trying to think about how to make it, but if we don't put that in the ordinance, then that gives some flexibility about what gets sent out. But what you're trying to do is get people to know that they're late and that they will be paying a $250 fine if they don't pay by this date. And then the nice thing is then if they want to go to council, you're like, you were late,
You got a notice.
you got a notice, just so you know, council
I know.
never
Were you
approved.
dying?
You can appeal it to council, but.
You in a
coun-
car accident,
I,
what happened,
if I
you'd
were
have
a
to deal with
guessing
it.
person, I'm thinking these appeals that are coming in for the $250, I don't know, that, given that was the complaint they heard before, is it was $750 without ever hearing,
Yep,
so. Yeah, but a notice without.
all right, I think we'll get this refined, get it to you. You go to Danae and the lawyers, and then we'll come back with a thing. What's your question?
It just sounds like we have a 10-day,
No, I'm not saying no 10 day.
so what's this 5-10 day thing?
That the letter gets sent out within 5 or
It's
10
an
days.
operation
It's
thing,
an
it's
operational
an
thing.
I see.
So that's just operationally, so that
Okay.
they get noticed before that fine hits, they get a notice saying you haven't paid your resort tax. You have until the 20th of, whatever month, right? February or whatever it is, to pay, or you will receive a $250 fine. If you fail to pay by the 20th of the next month, you will have an additional $500 fine.
I guess my
Because
question,
it's not a $750 fine. That's
I guess
somebody tried to say that.
my lawyer question would be, is that $50 considered an unappealable fine? And what
Yeah,
are
so
you
we
doing
could,
with that?
yeah, we could just take that, yeah. I mean, you are getting interest on it, but I guess obviously if it's,
It's not, there's a staff element involved that we have to account for,
yeah,
if we're sending out 30 or 50 or whatever letters.
yeah. You don't have, how many people don't?
And it's mostly short-term rentals, is where most of the problem comes from.
No.
I don't know, if it can be a processing fee. Sounds clearly to me.
Yeah, I mean,
All right, so we have to see if that is reasonable and legal, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, because from just an outsider point of view, it would be like, well, now you gave me a $50 fee and then I can't appeal that, but,
Yeah,
seems arbitrary.
Well, yeah, I don't know, whatever a reasonable fee would be for staff time to send out the letter, because you were late.
Sure.
So, whether it's 25 or 50, what have you,
yeah. Okay, we've gone through the rest of this thing pretty detailed, right? Does anybody, I guess I would say, this is shared with everybody. Look at it again. Please look at it again over the next 5 days. And if you have any comments, mark them in there, and that way we can try to incorporate them if they make sense. So we can have we really need to finalize this at the next meeting.
Yeah, definitely, because I think we want it,
Because
finalized
Because
before.
what we want to move on to at the next meeting too, now we're going to be in, April is, getting to budget.
Exactly, and I think Danae, I think staff would like it finalized before, people start renewing their
Yes, it would be great, yes, if it could be done before yeah.
business.
So if we got it done in April, then you could go through the process, you'd have it approved before the end of the budget year,
Perfect.
okay?
Would one of you mind resending the link to the document?
Nope, not at all.
Could you resend it to everybody?
Yeah, I will resend it
Great.
to everybody.
Thank you.
In
I
there
always
somewhere,
lose it
but-
too.
And then when you make your changes, that'll be at every.
Tom, do you want me to do that since I'm online right now?
Yes, if you want to, that'd be fine.
Yeah, I'd like everybody to have my correct email too. It's going to,
I keep
going to-
using your council. I'm not giving that up yet.
no, that's the one I want. I'm compartmentalizing here, so,
Okay.
The one that you just resent, I tried to send a text picture of it. It said it came from council, but when I hit reply, it went to Zephyr.
that's so weird. Yeah, it shouldn't be that one. I'll try to figure that out. It should be Red Lodge Ward 2 at Gmail.
Oh, it did that to me too, if I hit reply.
Yeah,
How bizarre.
I don't.
Yeah, you probably have that set and you probably went in and put that in as your reply to address and that.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it started with your reply actually, Tom, so I'm not sure why. Why it did that.
Oh,
But if you have a
Yeah.
reply to, it doesn't matter where it originates, it'll redirect the reply.
No,
so, could be something with the way I did, I don't know.
yeah, it might have been just. I'll send
Yeah,
something
it's
out right now.
fine. If I reply way up on top of that string,
Yep.
it has your city council one.
Yeah, I probably wasn't, I may have put that in there and so it might have gone that way.
Not a
Okay,
huge deal.
so- So, for the next meeting, we want to start talking about budget. And I guess maybe from your guys' perspective, what do we want for presentations and understanding? You know, I think we've struggled a little bit with this budget process in what kind of information we're getting in terms of how we're, you know, what's getting budgeted for. So, you know, like, do we want to, you know, have, I mean, it would be nice to have Mike show up and say, here's what we want, or to have, I don't know if we have the mayor bring, you know, like, you know, does the mayor bring it to us and say, hey, you know, here's what I'm recommending, and we'd like you guys to talk about it, and yet, you know, we'd like to buy 2 police cars this year, and it's gonna cost a total of $100,000, okay? You know, we'd like to buy this thing, or we'd like this thing. We had the electronic speed sign in the budget, and we didn't buy it, and so we'd like to leave it in the budget for next year. Okay, great. You know,
I liked it when Mike came.
yeah,
At that one meeting, because, you know, he was thinking that he was gonna have to do it a certain way, and we were, you know, we actually gave him more money than he thought he was
Yeah.
going to get. so,
yeah,
By all of us talking about it, so,
Well, it's good to hear the reasons behind the priority.
yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
the mayor's okay with it, I'd like them to come.
yeah,
Especially Mike, because he's in charge of the parks budget
yeah.
and the public works, and those are the biggest users of
Yeah.
our resort tax.
Yes, yeah. And it would be nice to have a presentation of, like, here's what we accomplished.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know, like, here's what we did in the park in the last year, and here's what we're hoping to do next year, right? I mean, I think, you know, you need that less for a police car, right? Like, you know, I mean, it's kind of,
Right.
this is what we've done, right? Like, I mean,
We drive it now.
yeah, we drive it, exactly. But it is, I mean, it's kind of nice, you know, here's, you know, this has been great. This is the ones we bought last time. They now have this many miles on them, and this is how long we expect them to last.
That would be good.
so with that grant that we got, for the tourism,
Yes,
I know you guys are still looking at projects, correct?
Yeah.
Or that,
yes.
so I mean, I guess just as a point, do we need to have match in our
Yes,
budget
we
for
do.
resort tax.
We
So
do.
I guess we just
I
need to
think
keep
that
that
will,
in mind.
think that will help us a lot. I think
Okay,
with all of the projects, I think that will help us a lot if we have
Okay.
some match money. So it will just help move them forward a little bit, and also it allows us to do some things that, you know, maybe ahead of grant schedule too, and so then that gets things, you know, then we can get projects completed, you know. It's like for the ice rink, I see it being some resort tax, some grant money, and some donation money. That should be what
mhm.
gets us through the finish line with that. So if we have,
And
we
that's
have,
kind of what we did with the pool. Only
exactly what-
finance-
exactly-
We did finance. part of it.
exactly, we
But-
did exactly what we did with the pool. Um,
I think that would be way better than, the stack of dream list that,
yeah,
wasn't necessarily.
yeah, like, I think, yeah, like, the problem is that dream list wasn't ever called by the city, like, so it's like,
Right.
do you really want this? Oh, no, we don't really, okay, well.
Yeah.
So,
Or is
I
it
think-
even realistic?
yeah, I think the mayor
Less
needs, I think the
illegal.
mayor needs to
Yeah.
talk to his department heads and have them come present on the things that he thinks is reasonable. And then, and then we can add things in to say, how come you're not asking for this? And that's okay for us to do, but
Yeah,
really the department head shouldn't ask for something that the mayor doesn't want asked for.
Yeah.
Ideally, right.
Yes,
like a multi-million-dollar law and justice center.
exactly. And not an eligible expense. Well, I guess kind of it'd
It'd be
it's kind of an eligible expense, yes,
Yeah.
it is.
capital, it'd be capital.
And the city is completing their capital improvements plan, so that helps drive that a little bit. So, are they hoping out of some of those capital improvements, is there stuff in there that they're identifying should be resort tax funded? That would be great for us to know about that.
Okay. I'll bring that up at Public Works.
If we need to have some money to finish the sidewalk to the high school out of regular resort tax money, we need to know that, Any other thoughts, comments?
No. I think that's great. I think, I know council will also be looking for those type of presentations again, too.
Chris, do you have anything else?
No, thank you for including me, even though I'm online.
That's fine.
Thank you.
We've got Angela online. Do you have any comments or thoughts you want to add?
No, I'm just listening in, trying to get some knowledge on it. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Thanks
Sure.
for participating.
Yep, you're welcome.
We're essentially done. I will give you the quick version, which is that what we're requesting is at the next meeting, that you would bring to us and maybe bring some of your department heads with you. And it could be an April meeting, it could be the May meeting, but it would be that, so we can do the budget. And then what we'd love to know is, what kinds of things would they like to see the resort tax fund, and why? And, and then also a little bit about the things that we're funding, what we've, what have we funded in the past with resort tax? What have we accomplished? What do we hope to accomplish in the future?
Okay.
And, while the police car is, but it would be, that doesn't really fit the police car model, but it is kind of knows, last time we bought these two vehicles, they now have these many miles on them. We expect them to last this number of years, and we're hoping to buy 2 more this year. And so we can accomplish, and that gets us in a rotational schedule where we'll buy 2 every other year, and that works out great for us, or something like that.
Okay.
A lot of that falls to Mike, obviously, but, that will definitely be helpful for us.
Where are we at with the budget process? Very preliminary.
Yeah, we actually have a first draft that'll be coming out. I mean, they've gone out to re-hit it and revisit it. Our biggest outstanding question mark, which will probably also fit into this conversation, is the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The fire.
So, I think in the short term, we're gonna end up using or requesting some resort tax dollars to help meet that obligation, but I think that's a short-term fix, not a long-term fix.
Fire chief sees it as more of a long-term fix, I'll just tell you that right now, but.
Well, as long as we can make it work. I mean, we were gonna try that last year, and we kinda got shot down.
With
So
the
I'd love to
information
hear
we
how
got
you
shot down last year, which has been reapproached, revisited, and clarified, is that, what we heard last year is that it cannot be done for assets that are not owned by
Right,
the city.
exactly.
The feedback we got this year, I don't know who said that, we never said that, that's not accurate information. What you need is a legal opinion that explains why this is okay.
As long as the auditors don't throw a fit
The-
at the end of the day, that's
And
all that.
last
honestly.
year, I never talked to the auditors about it, I received the information secondhand. This year, I spoke directly with the auditors and got a different answer than what I understood last year.
That would be good.
Just opening, creating a budget template in our spreadsheet right now, 26, so we can begin this process.
Jeremy, can I ask you a question? Did you also reapply? I know your term is up this year too.
Yeah, I did send a letter, an email.
Okay.
I remember getting one, so I just
I
don't
just
remember being-
resent, I just resent mine.
I thought we did it actually, but I'm gonna go back in
Because
minutes
they were
and
the
check.
only two, I think you didn't
And
give
it was
me counsel.
reappointments.
Yeah, I think, I'm pretty sure.
I have in my notes, verify if we did it or not, which we go back to the minutes and look at it.
Because I
Okay.
think we didn't even vote on it. You just said we have two people on
Well,
the board
I
that
think,
wanted
I think,
to
I think it was
reapply.
just to reaffirm the mayor's reappointment.
Yeah.
And so there was a vote, but.
Was there, I don't even remember being a vote. I just remember, yeah, because we didn't have to
I
put it
I
on the
think we
paper.
did it, but if not, we will do it.
Okay, what, if you could just confirm with your appointees. We're dying to know.
That I know I didn't do. That I'll own.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Cool. Wait,
Thanks,
did you
guys.
get public?
Yep, we did.
All right.
Thank you.
Duly requested.
Oh.